We've had a great almost 6 weeks now, and I hope we can continue to go like that. We're at a very rapid pace. We have to make up for a lot of lost time. And the country was very poorly run for 4 years. That you know better than anybody. Nobody covered it better than you, frankly. It's an honor to be with so many great people. We have really great people working with us.
You said America is back, momentum is back, our pride and spirit are back, and we're just getting started.
Right.
What do you specifically want America to look like in 4 years when you're done?
Well, I want a dynamic country where the private enterprise carries the day, not the government. And I want a strong country militarily. We need that nowadays. You can see that probably better than ever before. So I rebuilt our military. Man. A lot of it was given away to Afghanistan.
China is
it was a lot, but a very small portion.
Crazy army, crazy technology.
When you think about the billions and billions of dollars that was just handed over.
With like $60 billion.
But I rebuilt it. We're going to be rebuilding it again because we need that. We always need that. But we're doing a series of incentives, tax incentives and other things. The tax bill, I think, is going to be very important. The Democrats will fight us all the way. One thing I learned the other night, again, I could say, because it's my fifth such speech. And at the beginning, I said, I didn't know it was going to be as pertinent as it turned out to be, that no matter what I do, this group of people in front of us, I could come up with the cure to the worst disease that the world has ever seen. I gave other examples. I said, no matter what I do, they're going to sit there
for some reason.
Angry,
of course, these radical
insolent.
Democrats.
You just see it. I mean, you see it, you can feel it. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, no matter who it is, they won't stand, they won't applaud, they won't clap. They'll just sit there with sour faces. And that's what they did.
Deep state.
It was interesting.
The deep
I said, I wonder if I should put this in, but it worked out to be true.
Literally after.
And I think by putting it in, I showed that it was true.
Watch out the interview with Steve Bannon.
Because we're doing great things in this country. This country's really got a chance to be pretty quickly great again. I think the country's got a big light over it right now. And I've been told this by even other foreign leaders. We had Modi, we had everybody. We had from France to India to about 12 that want to come in. They all want to be here. Every one of them wants to be here. We had the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom who was here, and he couldn't believe. He said, the difference in terms
criticize him
the feeling about the United States is very different.
America now is respected.
It feels that we're back. We're respected again. We are respected again.
There you go. He said it. He just
in a way,
fucking
we're
said
back,
it again.
and it's only been a few weeks.
And you spoke to the president of Mexico today. I want to talk about tariffs because even as you're seeing this optimism and excitement, there's some nervousness over your tariffs. Markets have been selling off. People are not sure how to view it. Why did you roll back or put a pause into some of the tariffs until April 2nd?
Because I wanted to help Mexico and
Ontario,
Canada to
which
a
is
certain extent.
The biggest alcohol purchaser.
We're a big country
from the U.S.
They
and
do
the
a
world.
lot of their business with
Ontario,
us, whereas in our case it's much less significant. We do very little with Canada by comparison. And I wanted to help the American car makers until April 2nd. April 2nd, it becomes all reciprocal. What they charge us, we charge them. It's a big deal, but what they charge us, we charge them. But this is short term, and I felt that
I'm not
for the
against.
good of the American
there should
car
be
makers and the MCA, you know, what the USMCA,
on the NAFTA,
it's Mexico, Canada. I thought it would be a fair thing to do, and so I gave them a little bit of a break for this short period of time.
But I asked you about this before, and I know you told me when I
but
asked
from
you,
there
you
to
did
charge
use
25%
you put this together,
tariff out of nowhere,
and yet then you come back and you change
different.
it up with these tariffs, and you said to me at that time, I did it because I can. I put an amendment in there, and I said in 6 years I can change it. But I think CEOs want to see predictability. They say, look, I have to speak with shareholders. I've got to make plans for CapEx spending. I can't if it's 20% one day and then it's off for a month and it's 25%.
Yeah.
So can you give us a sense of whether or not we are going to get clarity for the business community?
Well, I think so. But, you know, the tariffs could go up as time goes by, and they may go up. And, you know, I don't know if it's predictability. I think
so that's not clarity.
No, I think that they say that. You know, it sounds good to say.
What he's saying
for
is
years,
we'll see how things
the big
go.
globalists have been ripping
If
off
they
the United
adapt
States. They've been taking
to
money
this
away
new
from the United States. And all we're doing is
to this new world order that I'm implementing, which is not the woke agenda anymore, and which is not all these uh, radical left, Democrat, globalists, uh, George Soros, DEI, Rockefeller, not Rockefeller, what's the other guy? Well, all these globalists, Davos agenda, 21 agenda, you're gonna own nothing and be free, BS, right? Of course.
getting some of it back, and we're going to treat our country fairly. This country has been ripped off from every nation in the world, every company outside in the world. We've been ripped off at levels never seen before.
Trump has.
And all we're going to do is get it back. We're going to get a lot of it back. We're not going to let people take advantage of us anymore. You know,
and there's a
United
deep state.
States. I believe that
still after
Kamala had won, meaning that whole ideology.
Still
Kamala
powerful.
And Biden and Obama, that whole group of people. If they had won, I don't think we would have had a country any longer. I think this was the most. Somebody said it the other day. The most consequential election in 129 years. If they would have won, I don't think we would have had
never
a country.
mind.
Not only did we win, we
America
won every
was
swing
not
state.
going
Remember,
to have a country.
I was watching your show just before the election.
What was going to happen
about,
with you?
I think he's going to win 4 or 5. We won all 7.
Let's say,
and we won the popular vote by millions of votes. We won the number of counties by 2,500 to 500. You know, 2,750 to 500.
Into the war.
And it's amazing. The map is all
NATO.
red.
Which is why I was surprised at the Democrats' behavior the other night.
If NATO
because you delivered among the most diverse,
the US goes
expanded audience.
And whenever that actually
Republicans,
gets hot,
Democrats, Independents.
Yeah.
Nuclear missiles.
Is it just the Democrat leadership that does not see that?
Blink of an eye a day.
There's something wrong with them. It's just something
and we're fucked.
I can't even.
That's the end of the war.
They lost an election in a landslide.
Literally, this
they
election.
They were talking about men playing in women's sports. When I looked the other night, I made a speech. The Republicans were going wild.
Like Donald Trump, but
and the Democrats were having their little signs up. Their little signs, their little tiny signs. And I said,
simple.
It's unbelievable. They don't get it. They don't get it now. And I think they're going to end up being a minor party if they keep going like this, because people don't want to hear about these stupid ideas that they have. Transgender for everybody. And again, the men and women's sports.
Yeah, they want to make America feminine.
A 90 to 10 deal? I don't even know who the 10 would be.
Feminine.
But they're fighting for it.
Out of the fundamentals.
And I try and say to myself, because you always like to understand where your opponent is, whether it's in business or anything else.
Christianity.
Is there something I don't understand?
Of a speech.
But we don't understand
to their arms.
You look at their theories on tax. You know, all my life I've watched politics. I've always liked it. I've watched it. I participated, but from the standpoint of a donor. But I participated. And all my life I've watched politicians, we will cut your taxes. We will cut your taxes. These people say we're going to raise your taxes. This is the only time. It's never said. I've never heard it. They say it even if they don't mean it. We will cut your taxes. These people say that we're going to give you the biggest tax increase you've ever had. And that's what they're running on. And I tell Republicans, take that night, because that was a great night. You got record ratings. You saw that. The highest rated speech like ever of its kind. Take that night and run your midterms on it.
Think otherwise,
and show us, I'm talking about some young child with cancer.
That's the billionaires.
Or some young, beautiful girl like Laken Riley, who was killed.
You don't know how an economy.
And they don't get up.
Who do you work
And they don't salute the mother who's there dead.
Let's pause it here for a second. For people that don't think, that think that's in 50%, like in Sweden and these countries, that's in 50% billionaires. It's, fairness and all of that. You have no idea what you're talking about. Where's the Silicon Valley in New Zealand and all of these countries that's 50%? They're not. They're in Silicon Valley. They're in the US. Or they're in countries that allow them to operate without being taxed 50%. Trust me, smart rich people is always going to find a way around the system. Even if you change the politics in the U.S., the entire politics, the money is gonna move. You fuck around too much with billionaires, with investors, industrialists in the U.S., fine, they'll go to China. They don't want to go to China because the CCP and blah blah. They might get confiscated their assets. They'll go to Saudi Arabia, where they have pretty much no tax, very very low tax, or they'll go to Monaco, right?
Devastated. Nungary, they don't get up and they don't salute the mother whose child was devastated. I mean, brutally killed. The young boy with cancer that wants to be a cop, and they don't get up and salute that child. They not only don't get up, they're angry. And the only thing that happened that was interesting really about it was that when I mentioned Ukraine and people being killed, they started clapping. And that clap was led by Pocahontas.
I saw what you said, and,
Yeah.
and I want to ask you about Ukraine
Pocahontas
and the
was
blow up
clapping
the other
for
day with Zelensky.
people
Let me stay on the
getting killed in
economy for a moment,
Ukraine.
because there are rising worries about a slowdown. You've got the Atlanta Federal Reserve saying we're going to have a contraction in the first quarter. Look, I know that you inherited a mess, and you said that the
I've
other
only
night.
been here,
But
for a
are
while.
you expecting a recession this year?
I hate to predict things like that. There is a period of transition because what we're doing is very big. We're bringing wealth back to America. That's a big thing. And there are always periods of, it takes a little time. It takes a little time. But I think it should be great for us. I mean, I think it should be great. It's going to be great ultimately for the farmer. Don't forget, I made the deal with China on a farmers where they had to buy $50 billion worth of product. $50 billion from 15 to 50.
Did they
and it was
follow
great.
up and do it?
They did it when I was president. What happened is when Biden was president, they didn't buy any
stopped.
longer. Yeah, because there was nobody to call them. I used to call President Xi. I said, you got to do me a favor. You got to, live up to that agreement. And he was great. He did.
Before you came into the Oval Office the first time, you were a very successful businessman, very
That's
successful
This
real
guy
estate
makes a phone call,
executive. And a
shit
lot of people said,
happens.
oh, this is the business
Biden,
president. This is it. He's watching the stock market. He
Sleeping
knows
on the
all
beach.
about, he
Meanwhile,
doesn't
the
want the
actual
market to go
president,
down. And now we've got tariffs,
the
and the market
assistant
has
of
been going
Kamala,
down.
Well, not much. I mean,
You said, look, we're going to have a disruption, but we're okay with that. Is that what you meant? The stock market going down was the disruption? What
It could
other
be a little
disruption were you alluding to?
Look, what I have to do is build a strong country. You can't really watch the stock market. If you look at China, they have a 100-year perspective. We have a quarter. We go by quarters.
That's true.
And you can't go by that. You have to do what's right. What we're doing is we're building a tremendous foundation for the future. Tremendous foundation. Everything's been taken away. We don't make ships anymore. We don't, you just saw one of the biggest shipbuilders in the world, one of the biggest shipping people in the whole world.
In the Oval Office with you?
In the Oval Office. He's announcing a $20 billion investment in the United States, which he would have never done except for this. But look at this. Honda, Toyota, they're all coming in.
That's actually right. Like it or not,
the chip maker, the greatest chip maker, Mr. Wei,
there are
biggest
companies,
in the
especially if they're
world, by far,
multi-billionaires,
is
back
going
to
to spend
the US.
$200 billion on
Used to be on
making
the good side of
a
the
massive
president
plant
and
to
get
make
tax
chips.
cuts and
So that's
this
your
and
message?
that,
Build it
and
here?
don't
Build
get
it here, there's no
tariff,
tariff.
And don't get,
The
especially
public
don't get on
companies
the
want to
bad
make
side.
sure that we have clarity.
president.
After April 2nd, when those
Trust me, they
reciprocal
don't want
tariffs
that.
go
The
in,
big
is
ones.
that it? Are you going to change anything after that? Will we have clarity?
You'll have a lot,
Airlines,
but we may go up with some tariffs. It depends. We may go up. I don't think we'll go down, but we
big
may go
tech
up.
companies. They
And
don't want
but
that
you
shit.
know, they have
They
plenty
wanna
of
fuck
clarity.
up with
They
these
just use that. That's
Trust
like almost a soundbite. They always say that we want clarity. Look,
Remember, like it
Our
or not,
country's
the
been ripped off
presidency has
for many
big
decades.
power. And this guy
for
right
many,
now
many
is running,
decades.
as
And
he's
we're
been
not going to be
saying,
ripped off
on a
anymore.
mandate.
On the tariffs, what are the automakers going to do for a month?
He has
I
a
mean, you
lot of
say you wanted
support.
to help American
And he
automakers.
runs.
You spoke with the
It's a
three.
transition
He
period.
run
Okay.
And it's a
on everything
transition
like he's
into
doing
April.
right now. It's not like he's
And
doing
after that, I'm
nothing
not doing
he
this. I
didn't
mean, I
run.
told them, I said, look, I'm going to do it this one time, but after that, I'm not doing it. They called me and they wanted help during this little transition period, and I gave it to them.
100%.